Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So Eddie Hearn has just really ruined his reputation. He's ruined the reputation of Matchroom. He just totally killed their brand by backing Connor Benn and contradicting himself for the sake of his own interests and the company's interests. We all know Eddie Hearn's been very vocal on PED usage in boxing and saying how whatever the VADA findings are, that's what should stand. Everyone should use VADA. There shouldn't be any other doping agencies, just VADA. However, when it comes to Connor Benn and his own interests, that doesn't apply. And the media is just ripping him right now. So, look, even amid the bleak hypocrisy that's boxing stock and trade, right? Eddie Hearn, it just seems to have been really desperate, man, to stand by Connor Benn. And I just don't understand why he would risk jeopardizing the Benn legacy, jeopardizing his legacy, and if anything, really strengthening the Eubank legacy and making it seem that the Benns are so desperate to get a win against the Eubanks that Eddie Hearn would be in cahoots with them and condone or try to find a way to allow the fight to go forward, knowing that Connor Benn may have an advantage. Okay? Because, look, it doesn't matter what you feel. The fact is that a boxer, Connor Benn, failed a drug test by VADA. And it's become quite the spectacle. Now, we know there was an adverse finding on the VADA test. There was nothing on UCAD. Okay? We get it. But there was a finding on VADA. But he still planned to try to go forward with the bout. Eubank Jr. wants to fight because he's making, millions of dollars. Okay, life-changing money for him and Connor Benn. But the thing is this. When you're a guy like Eddie Hearn, right, there's so many sound bites out there on Eddie Hearn. So when it comes to Canelo, Gerald Miller, he tried to protect Dillian White. Remember, Dillian White popped for a substance. But supposedly, he was clean, but he didn't have enough time for the B sample to come back, so they went with another I don't know if it's an organization. I guess they have a different commission to allow the fight to go forward. Billy Joe Saunders went with a different commission to allow his fight to go forward after he popped. So what it looks like is when it comes to Eddie Hearn and Matchroom's interests, then it's okay for a fighter to test positive for a banned substance, as long as it's not the opponent. Don't let that be the opponent. But when it's one of his fighters, it's okay. And this, in my opinion, is just disgusting, man. Just disgusting. And at the same time, man, just me being having a little bit of humanity, right? I wonder about Eddie Hearn, because if you've been following the videos that I put out, especially when it comes to Eddie Hearn and any of the boxers over there, I keep talking about Eddie Hearn and worrying about him and his mental health, and he's in this downward spiral as far as his promotional company and boxers, and all of his fighters are losing. Now they don't have any of the hardware over there as far as the heavyweight. Joshua's controlled things for so long. They made so much money, and now he has his guys over there losing. Got the zone on his backside. They're trying to do pay-per-view events. Canelo's losing. Triple G just hanging around for a paycheck. And then now you got this situation with Connor Benn and the drug test and Eddie Hearn. That fight's been postponed. It's been canceled, right? It's all wordplay at this point. The damn fight's canceled. Who knows if it'll be rescheduled? But he's just really, like in the history books, there's left a big black eye on himself and on his company. And all he did was just give the Leonard Ellerbys, the Al Haymans, the Showtimes, the Steven Espinoza, and the Bob Arums, the Frank Warrens, he's just giving everybody so much ammunition against him. And you know what? Those guys, if they decide now to go at him, before maybe they were just exaggerating or making assumptions about things, they have something that's fact now. Concrete evidence that this man, Eddie Hearn, isn't the good Samaritan that a lot of boxers thought he was. He's not. And I personally like Eddie Hearn, but when I look at this, it tells me he doesn't care. It's just like when I said this in other videos. When AJ lost that first fight, Eddie Hearn, it was more like Joe Jackson. Eddie Hearn got up on the ring. It was like, how dare you lose that fight? I don't know if you saw the panic on Eddie Hearn's face. He didn't know what to do. He didn't care about AJ's mental health. The fact that AJ was trying to process losing for the first time, getting stopped. All Eddie Hearn was worried about, he's got to win the rematch. That's all he was saying. It's like, damn, my man, you don't care about AJ? Oh, well, AJ's okay when he's winning. Now that he's lost, you only care about the belts. So this is good for Eddie Hearn, man. Good for him. Connor Benn, look, my understanding now, that drug that was in his system, okay? That drug does boost testosterone, but the real reason that boxers use that drug, right? This has just come out, is that drug masks other performance enhancement drugs in boxer systems. So the real drugs that give them help with their recovery, give them more explosiveness, help with their endurance, the real drugs, those don't get detected as long as you have this one in your system. Okay? Connor Benn just mistimed some things. And it's real unfortunate, but it doesn't matter what Connor Benn tries to say at this point. He's a goddamn cheat. Okay? It is what it is. I'm not saying that to be mean. It's in his damn system. Okay? A fertility drug that some people say women take to increase their chances of having twins. But the scientists are saying this drug is known to be used in sports, especially in combat sports, to mask the real hardcore performance enhancement drugs to give fighters a huge advantage when performing in the ring. And it's a shame on Connor Benn, shame on Eddie Hearn to try to push this fight forward. And although I think there's not a huge disparity weight-wise, because again, Connor Benn isn't a guy who struggled to make 147. He and Eubank Jr. walk around probably about 5 pounds apart. They both have to come down in weight. The only thing is Eubank Jr. comes down to 160. Connor Benn comes all the way down to 147. So what's happening this time is Connor Benn comes down and he gets to stop at 157 instead of going all the way down to 147. Eubank Jr. has to go down 3 more pounds south of where he normally would get his weight to. So when you look at that, Connor Benn's not at a disadvantage when people are like, oh, maybe he was taking the drugs to help to get his weight up. No. That 157 is a blessing to him. He normally has to cut that weight. He doesn't have to eat to gain that weight. He has to still cut weight to get down to that. And that's the misconception. But just knowing that Eubank Jr. really, if anyone, he's the one who had to cut that extra 3 pounds and make it hard for him. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Connor Benn with an advantage going into a fight with Eubank Jr., who's only allowed to rehydrate a certain amount of weight. You just don't want... Could you imagine if they got in the fight, Connor Benn knocks him out? He'll never get full credit for that win. You understand? He'll never get full credit for that win. And that's why the best thing to happen was to just cancel the fight. I personally think they shouldn't fight. I definitely think that that Eubank Sr., with his Jamaican heritage, he hooked up with Pacquiao's mom. They talked about it. He tried to talk to her about those Filipino spells she was casting, you know. Y'all remember that clip of her in the audience shooting poltergeistism in the ring? Eubank Sr., him working his obia, and I think they're the ones who brought it all together to ensure the fight got canceled. So Connor Benn, Eddie Hearn, horrible, man. And I misspelled this. When it comes to Eddie Hearn, I'm just not sure what anyone's going to want to think about him going forward. Like, why in the world would you want to work with a guy like that? You know what I'm saying? He just played himself. And you can only imagine you can only imagine how corrupt Eddie Hearn is. How corrupt he is. If he'll sit there and really try to push this fight. Sit there and don't want anyone to know. But then when it's happening to other fighters, it's crazy. And the lawsuits, my understanding, the lawsuits are flying. Okay? It's in the kind of early stages. But the lawsuits are flying. Things are being firmed up. Eddie Hearn's sweating bullets now. And the lawsuits aren't flying because the fact that the fight's being canceled. That not solely because the fight being canceled. It's because Eddie Hearn knew about this and he tried to sweep it underneath the rug. And they keep saying that Connor Benn and Eubank Jr. had a conversation. Eubank Jr. was not aware. He went on record and said he didn't know anything about it. So Eddie Hearn's lying again. And at this point, they normally say, well, there's his side, there's her side. There's two sides to the story, right? And then there's the truth in the middle. In this case, I believe everything Eubank Jr. is saying. Eddie Hearn's lied to us already. He's misled us already. Why in the world would you believe something Eddie Hearn says? And I'm always, sitting there trying to champion Eddie Hearn because I like him. I think he's funny. I think he's good for boxing. But after this, I don't like him. I don't respect him. I don't. He's full of shit, man. And I get it. Boxing, promotion, you got a business, looking at the money. But he's just really, they have this game called pin the tail on the donkey. It's really pin the tail on the Hearn. That's the position that he's placed himself in by not wanting to do the right thing. Horrible, man, to sit there and think you can just get away with just being a crook. Get away with having guys get in the ring with an advantage like that. Eddie Hearn talking about this, it's the fertility drug. Man, let's get to the real deal, because trust me, if this was another fighter going against one of Matchroom fighters, Eddie Hearn would have done his due diligence, which he has, and he wouldn't be talking about, it's just a fertility drug. We don't know how it got in the system. He would have said, yeah, it's a fertility drug. However, this drug has been known to be used to mask the stronger pads that really increase athletes' performance to a superhuman type status, right? That's what he would have been saying, but he doesn't want to get into that. But guys like me and other reporters out there, we've done our research. This drug is crazy. What man gonna have some damn fertility drug in his system? They're talking about, maybe he took something from his wife. He knew what the hell he was taking. Get out of here, man. A fertility drug? Out of all this shit, man, that's worse than the goddamn Canelo beef. That's worse than Gerald Miller. Like, it's all crazy, But anyway, man, I'm disgusted, man. But talk about, having to eat your own crow, man. Eddie Hearn, there's no way to hide, man. This guy is going to get publicly lynched for a long time, and he's earned that. He's earned it. Just like he's earned the praise of getting fights in Saudi and doing certain things. He's earned the fact that people are now kind of lambasting his ass, and he deserves it because he's wrong. Shame on him for what he's doing, man. These guys out here stressing out, their parents, their family stressing out, all the boxing fans, all the money, all the guys on the undercard. There was some rumblings about with some of the guys on the undercard, guys trying to get at Connor Benn and fight him now. A lot of threats and stuff being hurled back and forth. A lot of guys missed out on a lot of money. You got to understand, a training camp, they're just not missing out on the event. That training camp is no joke. I mean, I've been getting up and walking every morning, trying to jog, going to the gym, lifting weights, because I got to drop about 40 pounds, right? And I know how my body feels right now, sore and everything. You imagine doing a training camp, and now it's like, all right, put the work in, it's time to fight. And they come and say no fight. It's like you did all that for nothing. And I'm telling you, and when it comes to fight week, everybody's already on edge. Could you imagine? So tempers are flaring, man, and I don't blame them. But at the end of the day, it's out of everyone's control. Try to be positive about it. But if Eddie Hearn was to get slapped up a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised, because what he did was just horrible. Horrible. He should have sorted all that out. He should have never advanced this fight forward, knowing that the guy tested positive under VADA, but because UCAD has the jurisdiction over the boxing match, figured out, well, VADA doesn't matter. We're just worried about UCAD. That's horrible. Horrible, especially when he's on record saying that everyone should use VADA. Now he's saying VADA doesn't matter. And there's a lot of videos out there, I don't post that stuff because YouTube, they'll sit there, man, and shut my whole damn page down for plagiarizing or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Copyright infringement. But I'm going to tell you, go out there and look. There's videos out there about it where he's just it's like one guy did a video. It's like 4 minutes of Eddie Hearn just talking about VADA, and what they should do to a person who gets caught with banned substances in their system. Ban him from boxing forever. All the stuff that Eddie Hearn had said. Now he's got the situation here. He's not keeping that same energy. But anyway, man, that's the latest and greatest. Eddie Hearn. It's a shame. The fight is off. This man here really did not care about Eubank Jr. and his health. Eddie Hearn, what a clown. For the sake of his own interest in making a bunch of money. Now, this ties into what I've been telling you guys. Eddie Hearn is just, that man is, I told you, he's got to make money. Don't be surprised. More to come on Eddie Hearn. His back is in the corner financially. He couldn't go to the zone and say, we got to cancel the fight. He was going to just roll the dice and just pray that the fight was able to go. And they didn't get the green light. And now he is over there crapping bricks because Canelo, AJ and Usyk made some good money, but they lost, right? Canelo and Bivol made some good money, but they lost. Canelo and Triple G made some good money, but Canelo didn't look great, and Triple G, whatever. So Eubank Jr. and Connor Benn was the one. Another big fight, big money. So he's looking at, I'm telling you, he has projections on the type of revenue he's hoping to make to try to climb out of the red to get into the yellow. And then hopefully in the next couple of years get into the green. I am 100% sure that's the situation that Eddie Hearn is in. I have no doubt about it. Before I used to say, you know what, maybe he is doing well. But now that I watched what he did this week with this Connor Benn stuff, Eddie Hearn's a liar. He will lie. He's a con man. And I'm disappointed because I really like Eddie Hearn. I'm not going to stop liking him. I'm just saying I know what I'm dealing with now when it comes to Eddie Hearn. I don't believe shit he says. Horrible Eddie Hearn. But anyway, there's enough videos out there ripping him. I'm not going to rip him anymore. I just think when money's the root of all evil, man. And sometimes you got to just do right. It's just not worth it long term to be out here doing the wrong thing. And talk about a high-risk situation. Like, it's one thing if Eddie Hearn was the only person who was aware of the failed test. Like they did, it's like an at-home COVID test. Swab the back of your throat and your nose. Oh, shit, I popped up positive. But you keep that to you and you go into work and you make everybody sick, right? This isn't the case. Oh, my God, man. Stupid. But anyway, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.